You ready for an Andrew rant? I love what ifs and elseworlds. One of my favorite things are alternate universes of our favorite beloved characters, to see how those universes change. I was excited for this. This is one of the worst comic books I have ever read. I was so hyped for this. Look at that costume and look at that cover. Peter Parker, what if he became the Punisher? That's such an interesting concept. How did they mess it up? Well, I'll tell you how they messed it up. So we see Peter Parker gets bit by the spider, but one problem. The spider has the Punisher symbol on it. It's got a skull. That doesn't make any sense. Why does it have the skull? It's not explained. Then Peter Parker already has the Punisher suit and he becomes the Punisher. Okay, I guess. Then he lets Uncle Ben's killer go and he kills Uncle Ben, and then Spider-Man decides to go kill Uncle Ben's killer. So Peter Parker does the same thing. He goes to the Daily Bugle, gives photos to J. Jonah Jameson, fights Green Goblin, and they have like their rivalry too, and that's pretty much it. But what the cool thing is that Spider-Man uses technology and like different like types of things. Like, for example, he kills the Sinister Six. So the way he kills like Electro, he used EMP rounds and explosive rounds for Kraven. And you know what's weird? They mention things like, after an exhausting bout with Mysterio's robot X-Men. Oh, okay. The coup d'etat was delivered up close and personal. Okay. He used incendiary rounds to turn Sandman into glass, and then he shatters him. And then he uses armor piercing to take out Dr. Octopus's arms, and then get up and close personal and beat up Doc Ock. He'll kill him. And he takes out Vulture's power source, and yeah, he takes out Vulture's power source, and then he falls to the ground and dies. And Peter Parker graduates high school, goes into college, meets Gwen, and Harry Osborn actually gets with Mary Jane, and Peter goes with Gwen. And the whole thing still happens though. Like here, look, Green Goblin still finds out who Peter is. Green Goblin gets amnesia, and he's like, oh, like I don't remember who Spider-Man is, because that's how it wasn't originally. And then Norman Osborn remembers everything, and he takes Gwen, but instead Peter decides to kill Green Goblin. Gwen falls, but he saves Gwen, and then he's like, I can't, let the people that I love get hurt. The iconic image of Spider-Man No More, where he leaves the suit, but instead it's the Punisher suit. And then they're in Central Park, a family is hanging out, gets shot up, and guess what? It's Frank Castle, and he finds the Punisher outfit. Why was this terrible? Because nothing made sense. Why did the spider have the skull? That doesn't make any sense. Why did he become the Punisher and have the Punisher costume? What gave him the incentive to become the Punisher before he kills Uncle Ben's killer? That doesn't make any sense. Everything is exactly the same, except he kills everybody and Gwen doesn't die. And the costume's different. He's still the same old Peter Parker. That's not what I wanted. I don't want a retelling with a slight twist. I want a completely different take on Peter Parker. If you have the same exact Peter Parker character, then what's the point in doing it? I thought what would be cool was, this is how they should have done it. Regular Spider-Man. He would be regular Spider-Man, but instead, when Uncle Ben's killer, dies, Uncle Ben dies, and he goes and he's like pissed. He kills Uncle Ben's killer. And then that makes him the Punisher. That would be cool. And then what would be even better is like, okay, he gets buffed up, he becomes Spider-Man and the Punisher combined, so he kills people, but he's also Spider-Man. But like how everybody knows that Frank Castle's the Punisher, people find out that Peter Parker's the Punisher. Now it's, like he's public enemy #1, and they're looking for Peter Parker. They're interviewing Aunt May, like, oh, this and that, like, what's going on? And then what should happen is, oh, Aunt May gets hurt. Then if Aunt May gets hurt, he should be like, oh God, now I completely messed up. And then he should put himself into jail and then realize that would be a much interesting story. I don't want the same old Peter Parker. I want there to be a different Peter Parker, because I'm not reading a Spider-Man comic. I'm reading a Punisher comic. There's a difference. It should be a huge difference. And it doesn't make any sense. What if Peter Parker became the Punisher? Why did the spider have a skull? Why did he think of becoming the Punisher before he killed anybody? It doesn't make sense. He had no incentive before he kills Uncle Ben's killer to become the Punisher. So why did he have the costume? And why did the spider have a skull? It doesn't make sense. This was horrible. This was horrible. And I see people trying to defend it and say that it was good. It was written good and the art was alright. But nothing changed. It seemed like almost nothing changed. And then the ending with Frank stumbling into Spider-Man's costume. And I'm like, but why? What's the point? That was so dumb. This was horrible. Horrible. And I am so super disappointed with this book because I was so excited. I love Spider-Man. I just did the video on Spider-Geddon, and Spider-Geddon was great. The card will be somewhere. And I love alternate versions of Spider-Man, especially because, you know, they fleshed him out. You know, he's the spider totem or whatever and all that crap. But what about this? What about this? It's not like he's different. He doesn't stray far away from, you know, the Peter Parker that we know and love from Earth 616. No, it's the same Peter Parker, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill him. I'm just gonna kill him. You know, I'm gonna kill the villains now. That's not how it should have been. It should be that the Punisher uses scientific stuff to kill people and the villains. Yes, using the EMP grenade to take out Electro. That's cool. Using the fire rounds to kill Sandman, make Sandman and turn into glass and then shatter him. That's cool because it's scientific crap because Peter Parker's smart. That would be cool. But no, it's the same old Peter Parker. That's not what I want. I want a Peter Parker that's different. I don't want the same Peter Parker that I've seen for the last, 50 years of comic books? I don't want that. It should be something new, a fresh take on Spider-Man and Punisher. This was horrible. Don't read this. I am so disappointed. The X-Men What If that Rob covered seemed very disappointing and it didn't seem that good. This wasn't that good. How are the other ones gonna be? Now I don't even want to pick up the other ones. I wanted to get the Thor one because that seemed cool. You know, what if he was raised by frost giants? But I feel like it's gonna be the same thing like this one was. This was horrible. This makes me so disappointed. I'm very upset with this issue. Don't pick this up. This was horrible. I don't want the same old Peter Parker. I want a different take on him. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, why don't you give this video a like? Check out some of the other videos that we have here posted on the channel. And if you like those videos as well as this one, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel as well? And if you want to hear more of my rants, I guess you could subscribe as well to hear some more of my rants. This was very disappointing. I'll see you in the next one.